On my birthday, my phone delivered the kind of truth that splits a life in half. I am Daniel, 38 years old. I work as a civil engineer. I build bridges for a living. The kind that carry thousands of people every day. The kind that have to hold under stress, weather, and time. I used to think my personal life was built the same way. I was wrong. I had been married for 13 years to Lauren. We had a 12-year-old daughter named Ava. We owned a house in the suburbs with a 2-car garage, a yard that needed mowing every weekend, and a mortgage that reminded me I was doing what adults were supposed to do. I thought we were solid. My birthday was supposed to be simple. Nothing fancy. Lauren said she would cook dinner. Ava promised she would sit at the table instead of disappearing into her room with her phone. That felt like a win. I left the job site early that afternoon. I stopped to pick up a bottle of wine on the way home. I was thinking about how I had survived another year of pretending I knew exactly what I was doing with my life. I was stopped at a red light when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text message with a video link. I almost deleted it. I assumed it was spam. But something made me tap the screen. The video loaded. I recognized the room immediately. My bedroom. The gray comforter Lauren insisted on buying last year. The decorative pillows I knocked onto the floor every night. The camera angle looked like someone had propped a phone on the dresser. Then I saw her. Lauren was in my bed with a man I did not recognize. I should have stopped watching. I should have thrown my phone out the window. Instead, I froze. The video kept playing. They were finished. The sheets were tangled. His arm was around her. They were both breathing hard. Lauren was smiling. Not the tired, distracted smile she gave me lately. A real smile. Then the bedroom door opened. Ava walked in. My 12-year-old daughter walked into that room like it was normal, like it was expected. She did not look shocked. She did not look confused. She looked happy. She walked to the bed and hugged the man, wrapped her arms around his neck. He kissed her forehead like he had done it many times before. Then she said it. I wish you were my dad. 5 words. That was all it took. The man smiled at her and stroked her hair. Lauren did nothing. She did not pull Ava away. She did not correct her. She sat there with the blanket pulled to her chest, watching them like it was a scene from a family movie. The video ended. The light turned green. Cars behind me honked. I watched the video again. Then again. I was searching for something that would make it make sense. A joke. A misunderstanding. Anything. There was nothing. This was not new. This was not a one-time mistake. My daughter knew this man. She was comfortable enough to walk into a bedroom after he had been with my wife. She wished he were her father. How long had this been happening? How many times had Lauren told me she and Ava were visiting her mother, or at a friend's house, or at soccer practice, while they were really playing family with someone else? How long had I been the fool? I drove home without thinking. I pulled into the driveway at 6 minutes past 6 in the evening. The house lights were on. Through the kitchen window, I could see Lauren setting the table. Ava was laughing at something on her phone. My family, preparing to celebrate the birthday of the man they had already replaced. I did not go inside. I sat in my car with the engine off and watched them through the glass. They moved around the kitchen together, easy and familiar. They looked happy. They looked like they were waiting for someone. Just not me. I took out my phone and searched for a law firm that advertised 24 hours a day availability. The kind that handles ugly divorces. The phone rang twice. I told the man who answered that I needed a divorce lawyer. That night, at 11 o'clock, I sat across from Thomas Caldwell in his office. He was in his 60s. He looked like he slept in his suit. His face carried the weight of every bad story people bring to a desk like his. He did not offer sympathy. He did not ask how I was holding up. He pointed to a chair and told me to show him what I had. I handed him my phone. He watched the video twice. He took notes. He did not react. He asked if the footage was recent. I told him it was from that day and sent anonymously. He asked if I knew who the man was. I said I did not. He zoomed in on the man's face, took a screenshot, and said they would find out. He told me it was enough for a fault-based divorce. Adultery still mattered in this state. He said it made things cleaner. Cleaner. Like we were discussing a construction site. I told him I wanted everything. The house. The accounts. Then he asked about my daughter. I did not answer right away. Ava's face flashed in my mind. The way she hugged that man. The way she said she wished he were her father. She is 12, Gregory said, looking at me over his glasses. Courts usually lean toward the mother at that age. That is the default. He paused, then continued. But this is not a normal case. Exposing a child to an affair. Encouraging emotional replacement. That is parental alienation. We can argue for full custody. I asked how long it would take. He told me if she fought it, 6 months to a year. If she was smart, she would settle quickly. I left his office just after midnight with a signed retainer and a clear plan. Step 1 was simple. I needed to know who the man in that video was. That part took less than a day. His name was Caleb Turner, 39 years old. He owned a used car dealership across town. The kind with inflatable tube men, loud banners, and weekend sales advertised on local radio. He was my wife's first boyfriend from high school. I found his social media page. Public. Wide open. There were photos from a high school reunion 6 months earlier. My wife, Stephanie, was in several of them. Standing too close. Smiling too wide. 6 months. That was how long this had been going on. Gregory recommended a private investigator. I hired him the same afternoon. It cost me $2,000. I did not hesitate. I needed facts, not guesses. By Thursday, I had everything. Bank statements showed Stephanie withdrawing cash every Friday. Small amounts. $200 here. $300 there. Easy to miss. Enough to cover hotel rooms. The investigator tracked her movements. She had been visiting a motel off Highway 9, 11 times in 4 months. But that was not the worst part. The worst part was my daughter, Lily. Stephanie had been taking Lily to Caleb's house on weekends. I thought they were visiting Stephanie's mother. Yard work. Family time. Lies. The investigator had photographs. Lily stepping out of Stephanie's car in front of Caleb's house. Lily sitting on his porch eating ice cream. Lily throwing a football with him in the backyard. My daughter had been calling him Uncle Caleb. I stared at those pictures for an hour. Lily looked comfortable. She looked like she belonged there. Like it was routine. Like this had been happening long enough that it felt normal. Stephanie had not just cheated. She had been slowly replacing me. Letting Lily bond with him. Letting her imagine a future where I was optional. Making sure that when Stephanie finally decided to leave, my daughter would already be halfway gone. That was not going to happen. On Friday afternoon, while Stephanie was at work and Lily was at school, I changed the locks. I called a locksmith who did not ask questions. Paid cash for same-day service. Then I went to the bank and froze our joint accounts. My name was on them. It was legal. Gregory filed the divorce paperwork that afternoon. I had them served at Stephanie's workplace. Hand-delivered during her lunch break by a process server. It was not kind. It was effective. I printed a second copy and taped it to the front door of the house. I did not go inside. I had already taken what I needed earlier. Clothes. Documents. My laptop. Everything else stopped matching. I drove to an extended stay hotel I booked that morning and sat in the parking lot for a long time. My phone stayed silent for about 20 minutes. Then it rang. Stephanie. I did not answer. It rang again. And again. Voicemail stacked up. Text messages followed. The first one was angry. The last one begged me to answer. I turned my phone off, went to my room, and opened a beer. At 7:30 that evening, I drove back toward the house and parked across the street where I could see the front door. Stephanie's car pulled into the driveway at 7:52. Lily was in the passenger seat. Stephanie got out and walked to the door. She tried her key. It did not work. She tried again. Then she noticed the papers taped to the door. She tore them down and read the first page. Her face drained of color. Lily stepped out of the car and asked her something I could not hear. Stephanie turned and shouted at her. Lily stepped back. Stephanie pulled out her phone and started dialing. My phone lit up on the passenger seat beside me. Her name flashed on the screen. I did not answer. She found me on Sunday morning. I had been at the hotel for 2 days. I ignored 47 calls and more messages than I counted. Gregory told me not to engage. Let her panic. Let reality land. The knock came at 9 o'clock. 3 sharp knocks. Not a request. I opened the door. Stephanie stood there with Lily just behind her. Both of them looked worn down. Tired. Frayed. Good. We need to talk, Stephanie said. No, we do not. I replied, starting to close the door. Then Lily spoke. Dad, please. I stopped. I looked at my daughter. She would not meet my eyes. 5 minutes, I said. They came in. Stephanie sat on the edge of the bed. Lily stayed near the door with her arms crossed. Every part of her posture said she did not want to be there. This is insane, Stephanie started. You cannot just lock us out of our house. That house is mine too. My name is on the deed. We need to talk about this like adults. I told her adults do not sleep with their high school boyfriends in the family bed. Lily flinched. Stephanie opened her mouth, closed it, then tried again. It is not what you think, she said. I almost laughed. She said Caleb was just a friend. She said they reconnected at the reunion, and that was all. I took out my phone, opened the video, and pressed play. Stephanie went pale as her own voice filled the room. Her face on the screen. Our bed. Our sheets. I told her I had the video. I told her I had the messages. 6 months of motel receipts. Bank records showing steady cash withdrawals every Friday. I told her I knew about the 11 times she took Lily to Caleb's house, while telling me they were visiting her mother. Stephanie looked like she might be sick. She accused me of breaking into her phone. I told her I did not have to. She used our joint account to pay for the motel. She stood up and switched tactics. You are hurting Lily, she said. She needs her father. I looked at my daughter. I asked her to repeat what she said in the video. She stared at the floor. I asked her to look at me and tell me she did not say she wished Caleb was her father. She finally met my eyes. What I saw was not shame. It was not regret. It was defiance. I meant it, she said. He is nicer than you. He listens to me. You are always working. You ignore us. There it was. The story Stephanie had been feeding her. The idea that I was absent. That providing was not the same as caring. Never mind the weekends I asked Lily to do things with me. Never mind the dinners where she stayed on her phone. I nodded once and said okay. Stephanie sensed an opening. She said we could fix it. She said counseling would help. She said Lily did not mean it. I opened another file on my phone. An audio recording. I pressed play. Stephanie's voice came through clear. She said she could not keep doing this forever. She said Lily deserved a real family. She said Lily deserved a father who actually wanted to be around. Caleb's voice answered. He told her to leave me. He told her to move in with him. He said they would figure out custody. Stephanie said she needed time. She said she did not want to lose the house. The recording ended. Stephanie stared at me like I had pulled a weapon. I told her the recording was from 3 weeks earlier. I told her she pocket-dialed me from Caleb's house. A 22-minute conversation about planning her exit while protecting her finances. Lily's confidence cracked a little. I told Stephanie she had been using me for security while training my daughter to replace me. Then I told her what was going to happen next. I said she wanted Caleb, so she could have him. I said if she wanted out, she was out. But she did not get to rewrite history and paint me as the villain. I opened my laptop and showed her an email I sent that morning to Angela Morris, principal at Jefferson Elementary School. The subject line referenced a violation of the morality clause in Stephanie's contract. Attached were the video, the receipts, and the records. I told Stephanie her contract included a morality clause. I told her exposing a minor to an extramarital affair qualified as conduct unbecoming of an educator. She reached for the laptop. I pulled it back. I told her I also sent the information to her parents. Her face went completely white. Her parents were conservative. Church every week. Public reputation mattered more than comfort. I told her I also posted a factual timeline online. No insults. No exaggeration. Just dates and evidence. Enough to stop any attempt at playing the victim. Stephanie's phone started ringing. Then buzzing. Then it did not stop. Her mother's name flashed on the screen. Lily started crying. I stood up and opened the door. I told Stephanie she wanted him, and now he was all she had. She tried to speak, but her phone kept lighting up. Calls. Messages. People she recognized. She grabbed Lily's hand and left. I closed the door, sat down on the bed, and for the first time in 3 days, I could breathe. The school board meeting happened on a Wednesday. I know because Gregory called me that afternoon. He had Stephanie's lawyer on the line, yelling about harassment and defamation. Gregory put the call on speaker. The lawyer accused my client of sending explicit material to a school administrator. Gregory answered calmly. My client submitted evidence of an educator violating her employment contract. If your client wants to argue she did not violate the morality clause, we can do that in court. Once Gregory mentioned the video, the other lawyer went quiet and ended the call. That same day, Stephanie was placed on administrative leave. By Friday, it was not leave anymore. It was done. Permanent. The school district did not want the liability. A teacher had exposed her 12-year-old child to an extramarital affair. It did not matter that the child was her own daughter. The optics were toxic, and the district wanted distance. Stephanie lost her job. Then her parents hit her even harder. On Thursday, her mother showed up at my extended stay hotel. 73 years old. She drove 40 minutes just to look me in the face and say she raised Stephanie better than this. She said she was ashamed. She said Stephanie was not welcome at Sunday dinners until she got right with God. I did not ask her to do that. I did not demand anything. All I did was send the evidence. They made their own decision. Stephanie tried calling her father. He would not answer. And Caleb? Caleb disappeared like smoke. The private investigator caught one last piece of it on camera. On Saturday, Stephanie showed up at Caleb's dealership. She looked desperate. She begged him to talk to her. He walked her to her car with his hands up like he was calming someone down. They spoke for maybe 30 seconds. Then he turned around and went back inside. After that, he stopped answering her calls. It was clear what happened. Caleb did not sign up for a broke, unemployed single mother with a messy life falling apart. He signed up for the fantasy. Hotel rooms. Sneaking around. No consequences. The moment it got real, he ran. Stephanie still tried to fight me. She hired a lawyer with money she did not have. I do not know where she got it, borrowed it, begged it, or put it on a card she could not pay off. But she got one. Her lawyer filed for spousal support. He claimed Stephanie deserved half of everything because she had sacrificed her career to raise our daughter. That argument would have been funny if it was not so insulting. Stephanie worked our entire marriage. She did not sacrifice her career. She got fired because she chose to do what she did and dragged our child into it. The court date was set for mid-November, about 2 months out. While I waited, I did what I always do when something breaks. I worked. I threw myself into a bridge project in the next county. I stayed late. I picked up weekend shifts. I kept my hands moving because if I stopped moving, my mind would chew me up. My boss noticed. He promoted me to senior project manager and gave me a 15% raise. I joined a gym. I started running again. I also started seeing a therapist twice a week. The therapist did not tell me I had to forgive anyone. He helped me sort out the anger so it did not rot inside me. I reconnected with friends I had drifted from. Guys from college I had not seen much because Stephanie never liked them. Turns out they were still around. Still solid. Still willing to grab a beer and not make me explain every detail. I was rebuilding. Stephanie was unraveling. Our mutual friends tried to stay neutral at first. They asked for my side. I did not argue. I did not debate. I sent evidence. Most of them stopped talking to Stephanie after that. A few tried to defend her. They said people make mistakes. They said I was being cruel. I blocked them. Then mediation arrived. Gregory and I sat in a conference room that smelled like stale coffee and broken promises. Across from us sat Stephanie and her attorney. Stephanie looked rough. Hair pulled back. No makeup. The kind of tired that settles into your face when sleep does not work anymore. Her lawyer laid out their demands. Stephanie wanted alimony. She wanted to keep the house. She wanted joint custody of Lily. Gregory actually laughed. He said their client committed adultery, exposed our child to her affair partner, lost her job because of moral misconduct, and actively pushed the child away from her father. He said she was not getting the house. She was not getting alimony. He said we were offering 10% of the liquid assets, and she should be grateful for that. Stephanie's lawyer tried to argue. Gregory placed the video file on the table like a paperweight and asked one question. Did they want the judge to watch it? Because if the judge watched it, the 10% offer would disappear. The room went quiet. Stephanie started crying. At first it was controlled, then it got heavier. I did not feel sorry for her. Her lawyer stepped out to make calls and confer. He came back with a counteroffer. I keep the house. I keep the retirement accounts. I keep the cars. Stephanie gets a smaller settlement, enough to rent an apartment and restart her life. Minimal alimony for 2 years only. And custody would be split under a standard arrangement. Gregory told me it was a win. He said we had crushed her. He said I could walk away clean. Then Stephanie's lawyer said one sentence that made my blood go cold. The court would consider Lily's preference. He said she was 12, old enough that a judge might ask her where she wanted to live and who she wanted as her primary guardian. Gregory looked at me. I looked down at the papers. Stephanie wiped her face and watched me like she was waiting to see if that detail would make me fold. I asked the only question that mattered. What about Lily? Gregory answered carefully. He said the court would likely interview her. They would ask who she felt safe with. They would ask who she wanted to live with most of the time. And I already knew what my daughter might say. Lily had been making that choice for months. Every weekend, she walked into Caleb's world like it belonged to her. Every time my daughter called him Uncle Caleb. Every time she looked at me like I was the problem. I stared at the settlement papers and felt something in me go flat. Stephanie's lawyer cleared his throat and said we had two options. We could go to trial, or we could sign. Gregory leaned close to me and kept his voice low. He said this was the best deal we were going to get and I should take it. I picked up the pen, then set it down again. I told them I needed to add something. Gregory looked up. He asked what. I told him I wanted to waive custody. The room went silent. Stephanie's lawyer blinked like he misheard me. He asked if I understood what I was saying. I said I did. I said I was waiving all custody rights. Stephanie would have full custody of Lily. I would pay child support as required by law, but I wanted zero visitation. No weekends. No holidays. No shared time. Gregory grabbed my arm and asked for a private moment. We stepped into the hallway. He shut the door behind us and stared at me like I had lost my mind. He asked what I was doing. I told him I was doing exactly what I said. He said I was giving up my daughter. I told him she did not feel like my daughter anymore. Gregory shook his head and said she was 12 and kids say stupid things. He said I could not make a permanent choice based on a child being manipulated. I told him I watched Lily make her choice over and over. I told him I was not going to spend the next 6 years forcing a relationship with someone who did not want me in her life. I told him I was not going to show up every other weekend just to watch her count the minutes until she could leave. I told him I was done. Gregory warned me the court would ask why. I told him I would answer honestly. I said my daughter was brought into her mother's affair. I said she was trained to prefer another man. I said she told that man she wished he was her father. I said I was not interested in shared custody with a child who had been taught to see me as the enemy. Gregory rubbed his face. He told me it was permanent. He told me I could not change my mind later when she got older. I told him that was fine. We went back inside. I wrote the modification clearly, signed it, and slid it across the table. Stephanie's lawyer read it, then looked at Stephanie. Stephanie stared at me like she did not recognize me. She asked if I was really walking away from Lily. I told her she wanted me gone, and now I was gone all the way. I told her Lily was her daughter now. Then I said the part that hurt to say out loud. I reminded her Lily wished Caleb was her father, so she could let him be. And then I said the truth that cut even deeper. I said Caleb already walked away from her anyway. Stephanie's face collapsed. Her lawyer put a hand on her arm and said his client accepted the terms. We signed. Gregory witnessed everything and closed it out. I walked out of that conference room $50,000 poorer and completely free. 2 years later, I got an email. By then I lived in a different city. I took a job 3 hours away. A fresh start. A new office. I had been promoted twice. I was a senior engineer on a municipal infrastructure project that would have my name on a plaque when it was finished. I was seeing someone casually. Nothing serious at first. We had been on 4 dates, and she did not pry into my past because I did not offer it. The email arrived on a Tuesday. The subject line said, "Dad, please read." It was from Lily's school email address. I stared at it for a full minute. Then I deleted it without opening it. 3 days later, another email arrived. Then another. I created a filter. Anything from that address went straight to the trash. Then Stephanie tried a different route. She sent a message through social media. My profile was locked down, but she got through using mutual connections. She said Caleb left. She said he was engaged to someone else. She said Lily was struggling and acting out at school. She said Lily needed her father. She asked me to talk to her. I read the message twice. Then I blocked Stephanie. She tried another platform. Blocked. She tried texting from a new number. Blocked. Then she sent a message through my mother. I told my mother that if she wanted to stay in my life, she needed to stop being the messenger. I did not feel guilty. I felt relief. I rebuilt my life without them. New city. Better job. Clean routines. I went to the gym 5 days a week. I kept a small circle of friends who knew me as a guy who worked hard and did not talk about his ex-wife. I picked up hobbies. Woodworking. A welding class. Cooking something other than pasta. Every year on my birthday, I took myself to dinner somewhere nice. I ordered exactly what I wanted. I raised a glass to the life I built. No bitterness. No revenge. Just peace. Then last month, Gregory called. He told me I had a letter. He said it came to his office from Lily. I told him to throw it away. He said he could not. He said it was marked urgent and sent through legal channels. He said he was required to pass it along to me. I told him fine. I would throw it away myself. It arrived 3 days later. A thick envelope. Lily's handwriting on the front. I did not open it. I left it on my kitchen counter for a week. By then, my girlfriend and I were 5 months in. Still casual, but starting to feel like it might become real. She asked about the envelope. I told her it was old mail. But she saw the return address. She saw Gregory's law firm. Then she looked at me and asked if it was from my daughter. I told her the short version. I said there was a divorce. I said my ex-wife cheated. I said my daughter chose her mother. I did not give the ugly details because I did not need to. She asked if the envelope was from my daughter. I said yes. Then she asked the real question. She asked if I was going to read it. I picked up the envelope and held it in my hands. Lily would have been 14 by then, a freshman in high school, old enough to understand consequences, old enough to know that words can change a life. My girlfriend asked what I was going to do. I looked at her, then at the envelope, and I told her I already knew. That night, I threw the letter away. I did not open it. I did not read a single line. I did not go past the return address. I walked it straight outside to the trash bin and dropped it in with the rest of the garbage. My girlfriend watched from the kitchen window. When I came back inside, she did not interrogate me. She did not lecture me. She poured 2 glasses of wine, and we went on with our evening. That is what starting over really means. You decide what stays. You decide what goes. You decide which bridges you rebuild and which ones you stop trying to cross. I chose to let that bridge burn down to the foundation. I am 40 now. 2 years have passed since that letter. Lily would be 16, I guess. I do not track it. I do not check. I do not ask. I run a team of 11 engineers. We just finished a highway interchange that cut commute times by 20 minutes for 30,000 people. My boss wants me to take over the northern region next year. I will probably say yes. I bought a house last year. Nothing huge, but it is mine. 3 bedrooms, because why not? One is my office. One is a guest room. One is just extra space. The garage has a workshop where I build furniture on weekends. I sold a dining table last month for $1,200. The guy who bought it told me it was the best craftsmanship he had seen in a long time. And the girlfriend from back then is not just a girlfriend anymore. Her name is Savannah. We are engaged now. We are getting married next spring. She is a physical therapist. She has never asked me to justify my choices. She knows the outline of my story. She knows I have a daughter somewhere I do not talk about. She has never pushed. That is one of the reasons I trust her. I still hear things once in a while. Small-town networks are strange. They reach farther than you think, even when you move away. Someone mentioned that Stephanie works as a substitute teacher now. Different district. Less pay. Still struggling. I heard Lily is doing okay. Not great. Just okay. My mother, who I talk to every couple of months, let it slip that Lily has been in therapy for about a year. Anger issues. Trust issues. The kind of damage that shows up after a home implodes. I did not ask for details. I also heard Caleb married someone else. They live a couple towns over. A baby is on the way, from what I was told. He and Stephanie do not speak. I doubt he thinks about Lily at all. Funny how that works. People chase a fantasy, then run from the fallout. People ask me sometimes if I regret it. Walking away from my daughter. Burning it down instead of trying to salvage something. I tell them no. Lily was old enough to know what she was saying when she told another man she wished he was her father. Old enough to understand she was choosing sides. Old enough to participate in what her mother was doing and act like it was fine. So I gave her what she wanted. A life without me in it. She has her mother. She has therapy. She has whatever relatives are still willing to stand in the mess and call it family. What she does not have is me showing up every other weekend pretending we are fine. Letting her treat me like a chore until she turns 18. I am not that guy. I am the guy who walked away because staying would have destroyed me. I am the guy who chose self-respect over sentiment. I rebuilt from scratch because the old life was rotten from the inside, and I am at peace with that. Last week was my birthday. 40 years old. Savannah asked if I wanted a party. I told her no. Just dinner. Somewhere quiet. We went to a steakhouse downtown. She ordered salmon. I ordered a ribeye. We split a bottle of wine that cost more than my first car. We talked about the wedding. We laughed about her parents asking when we were having kids. When dessert came, she raised her glass and toasted to me. I corrected her and toasted to us. We clinked glasses. I looked at the woman across from me, someone who chose to be there and stayed there, someone who did not come wrapped in betrayal and performance. And I felt something I had not felt in a long time. Gratitude. Not for the pain, not for the divorce, but for the moment the truth finally showed up. That video 4 years ago did not give me a gift. It gave me a fact. It showed me who people really were when they thought I was not looking. It showed me I deserved better than being somebody's backup plan. Stephanie wanted Caleb. She wanted him to be the center of her story, so I let her have what she chased, and I took my freedom. Every year on my birthday, I remember what I lost. And every year, I am more thankful I am not the man begging for scraps from people who never valued him in the first place. They wanted him in their lives, so I let them have him, and I kept my peace. Best trade I ever made.